Welcome to the station of decapitation without your head. I'm Nasty Neil, and I'm joined by Dalton Allen, Leslie of Derelicts. It's very cool to have you here.
Thank you. I'm happy to be here.
Cool. So I'm a big fan of Derelicts. I got to see it at Buffalo Dreams Fantastic Film Festival. It's a very long name. And it was actually my favorite movie of the festival.
Oh, that's really kind. Thank you very much.
Yeah. So how did you get involved, Derelicts? I'm sorry if I talked over you.
No, sorry. Do you want to take it again? Or do you, I don't know, do you edit this very much, or is this all going to be in the interview now?
Oh, I edit some of it.
Okay, cool. Yeah, sorry. So what was the question again?
So how did you get involved in Derelicts?
I went to film school with a couple of the producers and writers. We were basically just a big friend group that knew each other, and they were. I wasn't involved in the pre-production of the movie at all, but they were looking to cast someone as this like really shitty son of this family, Leslie, and I'll take it as a compliment. But my friend Matt thought of me and thought I would be good for the role, so they had me come in to audition, and they liked it, and they cast me out of that. So that's how I got involved.
Yeah. So did you? Because I know that some of the makers that they've done like some short films. Did you do any of those with them?
Not too much. Not pre-Derelicts. One of the producers, Matt Stryker, and I have since made some short films together. And in school, I would like crew their short films, and I was the editor for one of Matt's films, but not too much. That was really, for most of the crew in that group, that was kind of my first real working relationship with them. I mostly just knew them through parties and friendships and stuff. Yeah.
So when you went to film school, were you wanting to be like a director, or did you always want to be an actor? What were you going to film school for?
Yeah, it's funny. I've had a weird arc. Like when I was a kid, I wanted to be an actor. Like I feel like probably 70-80% of kids do at one point, however briefly. And then that slowly morphed into wanting to be a writer, and then that morphed into being a filmmaker. So I went to school to be a writer-director. But then somewhere, mostly it actually happened post-college, I kind of rekindled my love for performing, because I did acting in high school and stuff. But I started taking improv out of college, and that's what really re-sparked my my bug for acting and stuff. So Derelicts also was a big part of it. It was early on in that group, and so when my friend Matt came to me asking if I wanted to audition for it, I took the opportunity as like a sign that maybe I should put more effort into this aspect of it, and I think it's worked out pretty well for me so far.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So, were you always into horror movies, or is this not something you were interested in before?
I've always liked it. I have these. Some of my most indelible memories come from horror movies. You know, those times when I was scared out of my mind as a kid. But in terms of as a filmmaker, I was never that interested in them until very recently. Probably 4 or 5 years ago, I started realizing horror movies have a lot of what's the word? There's the campiness. There's just a fun quality to them. Mm-hmm. And the visceral aspect of them was really appealing to me. And I started falling in love with horror as my tastes in film generally evolved. And a big part of that was this group, the group that made Derelicts. They're super huge horror buffs. Derelicts is kind of just a love letter to old 70s, 80s horror movies. Mm-hmm. So becoming closer friends with them also helped really broaden my horror horizons.
Yeah, I know. David mentioned that Brett, gave everybody some horror movies to watch for references. Do you remember what they were?
Yeah, I remember. This is interesting because I was also, outside of just being an actor, I also crewed the movie. I was like the DIT on set and assistant edited afterwards with Matt. So I remember some of the movies he gave as a reference point for editing. I don't necessarily remember what the acting ones were, but like Carrie was one of them. And I feel like Texas Chainsaw was definitely a big one, of course. And actually through Derelicts, those were the first times I had seen either of those movies. Was while I was researching the tone for editing later.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's weird. But are you from Texas?
I am, yeah. I do. I have a weird because I came to film kind of late in my at least like college career. I still have pretty big gaps in my my canon library of what I've seen. So
yeah. So what did you think of Texas Chainsaw Massacre when you watched it for the first time?
I thought it was great. It's that type of like low budget, just like it feels like a group of friends going out and doing something that they believe in, and it just striking the right chords at the right time, and it then there's just even it really highlighted how much like crafts you don't need money or fancy technology to have craft. You just need like the right eye and the talent, basically, or even like talent is even something you get with experience. You just kind of need the can-do attitude and like the willingness to go for it. Is what I felt. I don't know too much about the actual history of it, so maybe I might be wrong about some of the details. But it had that feeling of just like a group of people having fun, doing it on their own with like very little money and just knocking it out of the park anyway.
Yeah. So how close do you think you are to the Leslie character?
In terms of personality?
Yeah.
I hope not very close. There's definitely like an alternate reality where I am very much closer to Leslie. I think it's part of why they came after me for the role, was because there are aspects of Leslie that I kind of used to be when I was younger. Like I was a really shitty kid. I was misbehaved and kind of rude to everybody and stuff. And I've since luckily grown out of that. But like if certain things in my life hadn't happened, I definitely could see myself being more of a Leslie, just like this real snotty curmudgeon that doesn't like anybody or myself or anything. So it was helpful because I could tap into like my earlier self, and pull the like catharsis out to be a real shitty person. But yeah, hopefully most of that is exercised through the movie, and I don't have any of that left in me.
Yeah. So what was it like your scenes with Bo? Because you two characters have a lot of intimate scenes together.
Sorry, can you repeat that? You broke up a little bit.
Yeah, I don't think the connection's very good here. What was it like filming your scenes with Bo?
Oh, I think those were the most fun scenes for me. I like being vulnerable in a weird way. And so like it was fun to just get like not having to do, it's really, I don't know how to put this. It's like, I mean, basically like Bo dominates every scene that we have together, right? She's like, I have no control in anything. And there's something fun about just like letting that go and having the trust of my partner in the scene to just like take me through whatever, and I react naturally to it. Yeah, and I think all that was the most fun I had on set, I think. Especially the climax of our relationship, which I guess is a spoiler, so I don't want to say what happened, but that was a great day on set for me, because everyone was just like freaked out by the practical effects of it, and I was just having a blast.
Yeah, it's a very eye-popping scene. It's a good scene.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you get to keep the penis pump?
I don't have it personally. It is one of us has it. It's somewhere in some closet of ours. But I don't personally have it. I that was something I couldn't really explain to my parents. So I had to tuck it away and let someone else hold on to it for a while.
Right. Do you know where they get? Was it? I was gonna ask if it was anyone's penis pump before the movie, but I assume it was a new one.
I don't think so, but it's mine now. They if it was someone's, they lost it. It's not theirs anymore.
All right. So, what did you think of the finished movie when you saw it for the first time?
It was So I was there throughout all the editing process. So I saw like every iteration of the cuts as Matt went through it. And so like seeing it from that initial first pass where it's just assembly all the way up to like, the fine cut, and seeing Matt actually like, so the script is a lot more straightforward than I think the movie ends up being. Because there's a lot of like headspace stuff that happens that I don't think was in the script, that Matt just kind of found in the editing room that I thought was really great. And it's so like I don't know how to. It's not. I don't know if I have a like good answer for that, because I kind of never had a break between versions of it. Like I was always there to see it evolve. So I'm pretty tied to the cut, so that there was no surprising moment to me where I was like, we shot this and then months later I see this version and I was like completely blown away, because I was just kind of there for it all. Does that make sense?
Yeah, definitely. I was wondering, like, for something like that, when you watch a movie, do you see it as a movie, or do you see it more as like the memories of making the movie?
That's interesting. I think I tend to. I think it's like a market quality usually when if I'm watching something and I just remember the day that we shot it or whatever. Mm-hmm. I'm not. I guess that means that I'm not as invested in the storytelling as I should be. And with Derelicts, I feel like I don't. It's also it was such a busy month and a half of filming that we were doing that it's all just kind of a blur. So when I watch the film, it is just the film. And I'd have to stop and really think about what day that was or what we were doing to get that shot. For example, there's an overhead shot of me when I'm in my bed sleeping, at the very beginning of the movie. And that's a constructed set in the living room of the house we were in, because we didn't actually have space to get the camera above the bed in my bedroom set. So we recreated it downstairs. And when I watch the movie, I completely forget about that. I have to remind myself that that's actually downstairs and not where in the story it actually is. So I guess to long answer short, I see it as a movie. I don't really think about the process behind it, even though I was a part of it.
Yeah. So what was it like filming in that house? Since you were not only an actor, you said you did some other work on the movie.
Yeah, it was very hot. We shot in July in Texas with no AC on, of course, because sound. And it was a really, really small house, and there were 9 actors at most, in front of the camera, crew behind the camera. It was just really packed, really tight, super hot, kind of miserable, but also in that same way, it was a real bonding experience, because we were all feeling miserable, but in that good way, where it's sweaty and exciting and not just a slog. You know what I mean? And yeah, it was I never felt that stressed personally, even though when I wasn't acting, I was doing DIT work. So I was copying footage onto the hard drives. And those would occasionally, we had some potential catastrophes there that got averted, luckily. But I think just how quickly everything was and the running gun aspect of it was we didn't really have time to stop and feel anything. We were just kind of always on the move, always doing something, and that was really exhilarating. I really, despite the hotness and the miserableness of it, I was like one of my favorite moments of my life, that terrible month in July heat.
Did you get to go to any of the festivals?
Yeah, I went to, I think it might have been the first one we played at. I don't remember if that's right, but it played at Telluride Horror Fest last October. And that was a great experience. That was amazing to see. And like, I'd never been to Telluride. It's gorgeous and all of that.
Yeah, I've never been to it either. So, watching it with the audience, how did they react? Did they react?
I think. Sorry, what's that?
Just go on.
Oh, no, I think it was. I think we got the reactions that we were looking for. People would like laugh when we wanted them to, and like groan and writhe when we wanted them to. Especially like the eye pump scene with me late in the film. There's it's a weird line of like super gross, but also like really funny, right? The situation of like a penis pump vacuuming my eye out, right? Like it's like it's the viscera of it is really disgusting, but it's also just like a really funny visual idea. And that's like a weird line to be like grossed out and laughing at the same time. But I feel like the movie felt like it hit that mark, and the audience responded to it properly, or at least in the way that we were hoping they would, which is like that type of laugh where you're like, I don't want to be laughing, but I can't help but be laughing, you know?
So
yeah, that's my favorite type of laugh.
Yeah. What's Down to Film? I saw on your IMDb page.
Oh, it was like a TV show through UT. UT has like its own like student television station.
Oh, okay.
That was like one of the shows that I worked on. Yeah.
So are you working on anything currently?
Currently, personal projects, not too much. I'm a writer as well, so I'm writing a couple of things. I work as an editor for an animation company right now. As an editor, I said. So that's been keeping me busy. That's a pretty new job. So I was freelancing for the last 4 or 5 years, but now I have this steady job, which has been really nice. But it has not really given me much time to be pursuing my own stuff yet. But I'm working on trying to find that balance. You know, there's always something. Although I say that, I always forget. So I mentioned Matt Stryker and I make short films together. We made a short a couple years ago that played at South by called Beach Day, which was a real like kind of same attitude, like real run and gun, just kind of fun gay shoot basically. And so this year we shot a kind of spiritual sequel to that. You know, a little bit more planning, a little more budget, all that type stuff. And we just finished editing that a month or two ago, and so now we're submitting that to festivals and stuff. So hopefully something will come of that.
So, what kind of stuff do you guys make together?
We tend to keep it pretty straight comedy, because you do need a little bit of money, or like it's not even that. I think it's just like when we hang out, we always try to make each other laugh. And we wanted to capture that in our short films, basically. So our bigger projects tend to be genre in some fashion, but when we're just like shooting the shit, fucking around, we tend to like it's pretty much straight comedy. So for these short films that we've been doing, it's just been comedy.
Mm-hmm. So when you started watching horror movies since doing Derelicts, what are some of the standout ones?
Ooh, I love Blair Witch Project. I think that's probably my favorite horror movie. I think there seems to be a theme occurring where like I really appreciate that sort of low budget, lo-fi aspect. What else? Babadook's great. That's one of those like I love that movie, but I'll never want to watch it again. Because the kid is particularly is like he's too good at being an annoying little kid.
He is, yeah. It's funny because some people who don't like that about the movie, and I'm like, well, that is the point of the character, though. He really nails it.
Oh yeah, no, I think it's genius the way she was able to get that performance out of that kid, and like I love it so much, and yet I never want to like go through that experience again. That's the mark of a really good movie for me. Carrie is great. I watched, like I mentioned, I watched that for the first time during Derelicts, and that movie really stood out to me. What else? I guess I should have prepared that. Probably I should have known you would be asking that. I should have gotten my list together.
Yeah, that's all right. That's a good one.
I don't know if you consider it like a pure horror movie, but I love Possession by or what's his name? Andres. I can't remember his name, and that's unfortunate. But do you know the movie I'm talking about with Sam Neill?
I'm not really sure, to be honest. I'm gonna look this up and I'm gonna cheat.
It's this old 80s horror movie that's like European with Sam Neill and Isabella Gianni, and it's like it's the two of them. It's basically a movie about a divorce, and it's just like the whole movie is just like hysterical in the sense that people are acting rationally, not funny in any sort of way, but just like it's human emotions turned up to 11, and then they add horror on top of that, and it's just like it's bonkers and out there and beautiful in this really like broken, horrible way, and I love it.
Huh. I don't think I've seen this movie.
Oh man, it's a trip.
Yeah, I will check it out. Very cool. So, it was cool to talk to you, and I really dug Derelicts, and I hope, do you know, like, what's going to happen with Derelicts now? Like, when people go to see it?
Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not really in those conversations. I know since the festival you saw it, I don't remember if that was the last one that we played at, or if there were a couple more after that.
I think it did.
But I think our festival time is rounding down either way. And after that, we're looking to sell it in some fashion. I just don't know what that looks like. But hopefully we'll find someone that will release in some capacity, whether that's, just through Amazon or some other streaming site or something. I don't know. I hope it gets out there though. I think the audience that would like it is very specific, and like a very niche audience, but I think that audience would really enjoy it, and so I hope we're able to get it to them somehow.
I agree. I mentioned that to Brett at the festival. I think if it gets out there and people can see it, I think it's going to be like a cult hit.
Yeah, I hope that's true, and I want to see that happen. I think the guys that made it really deserve it. I think. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think, not like a totally small audience either. I think it would appeal to a lot of horror fans.
Yeah.
Like
I hope so. I hope you're right. I just like, I have like the mom test where like my parents who aren't film people at all couldn't even tell you like anything about it. This is not a movie for them at all. Right. It's like, it's funny. I keep making projects that like I have to explain to my parents, which is really hard to do. And like I don't think I'll ever show them Derelicts because I don't want them to see me doing that and not understand what's going on.
Right. The reverse. I actually did watch Derelicts for a second time with my mom, and she really enjoyed it.
Is she a horror buff?
She is, yeah. I grew up watching, like since I was like 5 or 6. A lot of not just horror movies like Caligula and things that I probably shouldn't have been watching back then. But she gives it a big endorsement.
Cool. That's awesome. That's good to hear. Yeah, that gives me hope.
Plus, we need more Thanksgiving horror movies. There's tons of Christmas ones. There's very, very few Thanksgiving.
And it's a concept that's rife for horror, like family drama, politics, and everything. Like, there's so much you can do with Thanksgiving. It's a shame that it gets overlooked. Yeah.
I agree. It was very, very cool to talk to you.
Yeah, thank you for having me. This was awesome.
Yeah, very good. And I really dug the movie. I hope people get to see Derelicts when it's out there.
Thank you very much.
Cool. All right. Thanks. Sorry there's a connection. It's going here, so it's probably part of the connection problem.
No worries. Sorry. Hopefully my audio is usable.
Yeah, I think
it'll
be pretty good on the recording.
Okay, cool. Yeah, you came in pretty good on my end. I just don't know how I'm sounding on yours, but hopefully.
Yeah, it sounds fine. I think there's just it's like a half a second off a little bit, so
yeah, that's what it seems like.
A bit later. Yeah. All right. Well, I think that's all the interviews, so I'll probably get this up today or tomorrow.
Oh, awesome.
All right.
Cool. I'm looking forward to it. Thank you very much. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Have a good night.
And thanks for doing it. You too. Bye.
Yeah. Happy New Year.
Thank you. You too.